Hey guys, what's going on? This is Matt here and welcome back to the Black Ops 3 Mod Tools scripting series. So then, in this video, we're going to be using Notify and Waittills. Now, what these are, really, it's a way of communicating between scripts to know when something's happened, and you can then wait until that thing has happened. So in this case, we're going to be using a valve. So what's going to happen here is we can go up to this valve, we can activate it, it's going to rotate. It's then going to notify the script that something has happened, that the valve has been rotated, and then this sort of container is going to be listening for that, and each time it's rotated, so it's going to be waiting for that, it's then going to make this liquid go down. If I just show you like so, you can see we have some liquid inside of here. Each time the valve is rotated, we're going to be making this move down. That's really what this is going to be. Nothing too complicated, but it's certainly got a few moving parts in it. So I've gone ahead, as I say, I've gone ahead, as I have done previously, sort of set up all the models. Everything is just MISC models at the moment. We still need to be putting target names on everything and setting up the trigger. And I've gone ahead and opened up the script file. This is just the mapname.gsc just ahead of time. So first things first, let's grab the liquid and the actual valve and make these into some script models. Already got it pre-selected there, which is nice. Awesome. So these are both now script models. Let's put the trigger into the map. Raise it up a little bit. There we go. And we can now, with the trigger selected, we can now select the valve and press W to link those two together. We're now going to change the icon to no icon and give this a target name. So we'll do valve trigger. Awesome, just copy that so I can use it later. Next, what we need to do is basically the same thing to this now though. So give this a target name. So we'll do, I guess, container liquid. There we go. And now we can refer to this as its own target name. I've separated it, so instead of you sort of targeting it maybe from the valve to the liquid, I like to keep things separate sometimes. Just makes it a little bit easier. So we'll keep that over to one side until we're done though, just so it's easier to select it. Let's go and make the script. So level thread. We'll do a valve step because it feels like you could probably make this into a bit of like a mini Easter egg maybe. So we'll call it a valve step. Then down here we'll do function valve step. Awesome. And then we're going to just set up the trigger. So note here, I'm using valve trigger as the actual name for this over here. This is just because at the moment we've only really done moderately simple things with triggers. We haven't gone too insane. It is good. It is a good idea though, to sort of name it more accurately. So if we did have more than one trigger, we do want to know the difference between them. So from this point, I'm going to kind of start naming things a little bit more specific, I think. There we go. So valve trigger. Now let's require the player to look at it. And let's set the hint string. And then 1, 2, turn valve. There we go. So up to now, things have been pretty much what we've done already. Nothing really new. Next, what we need to do though is actually monitor this trigger. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and do valve trigger thread, and I'm just going to call it monitor trigger. We will be threading a function on this valve trigger to monitor it. So function monitor trigger. And in here, we're going to be doing a loop because it's going to be used multiple times. So, and then we're going to do a self Waittill. There we go. So if up to now, some of this doesn't make sense, everything up to now has been covered in a previous video. That's the reason why I'm kind of starting to move a little bit quicker. Self is referring to the valve trigger. So because we're threading it onto here, valve trigger can now be known as self, and we're just going to be waiting for the trigger. We can do this multiple times, so in this case we're going to do it probably like 5 times until the liquid is fully all the way to the very bottom, and that's the reason why I put it into a loop, so we can keep looping until we don't want to anymore. Okay, so next what we need to do is actually notify this main script up here that the trigger has in fact been pressed. So we're going to do level, and this now is where I guess the new sort of stuff comes in. So level notify, and we're just going to call it, I guess, valve rotated. There we go. Just going to copy that, and then up here, this is now is where we can use this. So if I do another while loop, I'm going to do a level Waittill and put the same as what was in the notify in here. So this is going to wait for the trigger to be pressed, and each time it's been pressed, this loop up here will run. That is pretty much what's going to happen here. Now, I absolutely could have left this the way it is. That is a pretty good example of a notify and a Waittill, but I kind of wanted to make it a bit more usable. And as I say, I wanted to make it into a bit of almost like a mini Easter egg step. So next what we need to do is actually rotate that valve. I like to do things in stages, because if you try and do it all at once, it can get quite messy. So take it in like logical stages. The player goes up to it, they activate the trigger. What's next? That's going to be the actual valve rotating. So we're going to go ahead and go down to monitor trigger, and we're going to go and do model. Actually, we'll call it a valve, because it is a valve. We do get ent. I'm going to do self.target, because that is what we called it. As in, it was from the trigger targeting, and the target name was also one. So we can grab it from the trigger. So self being the trigger in this case, dot target, and then we can do target name. And then because we've got this now in here, we've notified the main bit that it's been rotated, but we want to sort of notify it once it's done its rotation, not before. So we're going to do it after the Waittill in here. We're going to do a valve rotate pitch. In this case, I'm trying to remember these rotation ones. I think I mentioned it in one of the last videos that I always get confused which one's which, but I know in this case it's pitch. So rotate pitch, I'm going to rotate it by 360 degrees. Yep, so do a full rotation, and we'll make it take half a second to do that. We're then going to wait for half a second before we do anything else. So it's going to do a full rotation, and then we're going to notify the script above that it has been rotated. Awesome. Next, what we need to do is, of course, lower the liquid. Now, what we can do in here is we need to grab the liquid actually first. So we'll do it just up here. Equals get ent. And I do not remember what I called it. Aha, there we go, container liquid. Just copy that. We're probably not going to need this anymore, so I'm just going to put the model back there. We'll grab the liquid, and then each time it's been rotated, we're now going to make the liquid lower. So we'll do liquid move. I do actually need to click it. There we go. It's on the Z axis. We'll be moving it up. Well, we'll be moving it down. So on the Z axis, so move Z. I'm going to be going in a negative direction because it's going downwards. So we're going to do negative. I just put 10 in here for the time being. So it's going to take 2 seconds to move, let's say. So of course we don't want it to actually move by 10 units. We're now going to figure out exactly how much we want to move it by. So I should have just kept this over to one side, the amount of times I'm still using it. So now I'm going to just draw a brush out, just so we know the height of this. It is 60 units. So we'll keep that the way it is. So it's 60 units. So we'll move it by 60, well, downwards by 60 units. But because we've got this valve being rotated multiple times, you obviously don't want it to go down all the way. You want it to go down sort of in stages. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to just make a variable called rotations required, let's say. And we're going to just set this to 5. So this is how many rotations we want there to have to be. And all I'm going to do here is do minus 60. So it's going to be the entire thing, but we're going to divide it by the number of rotations required. So this means that if we did want to change how many rotations of that valve were required to sort of complete the step, we only have to change this number. We don't need to change anything else up to this point. So nice and I guess easy to read. Like it's it's a bit better laid out than sort of putting numbers all over the place that you have to try and remember to change if you do want to change it. So rotations required is 5. We're going to move it by, in this case, it would be by minus 12 units. So downwards by 12 units. The next step, of course, is to actually sort of deal now with the second bit of this, which is how do we know when we're done? So at the moment, it's just going to continuously keep making it go down, effectively infinitely. There'll be no stop to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a second, I guess, track variable, which will be rotations made. I'm going to set this equal to 0 because at this point no rotations have been made. So once the valve has been rotated, we can now increase this value because 1 rotation has been made. And to do this, we're just going to do plus plus. So plus plus means increase by 1. And if we wanted to decrease by 1, we'd do minus minus. So that's all that is. The rotations made increase that by 1. Next step would be to sort of check if all the rotations have been made at this point though. Because this is like going to be the end goal. So we'll keep doing this. Rotations made will go to 5, in which case it matches the rotations required. So once we've moved the liquid, we probably actually want to, do we want to wait? Yeah, we'll wait for 2 seconds until the liquid has been moved. We probably also want to put a wait down here now actually. So you have to wait for the liquid to move before you can sort of do it again. Let's be smart here actually. So we're already using notify and Waittill, so let's use 2 of them instead. So once the move has been made, we'll now actually do a level notify again, called liquid moved. There we go. And then down here, we will wait until the liquid has moved. There we go. So we could be waiting until the trigger. We're then going to let this script know that the valve has been rotated. We will then rotate the valve. So we'll rotate the valve, we'll then move the liquid down. Then once that liquid has completed the move, we will then let the trigger know that it can go ahead and wait for the trigger again. So kind of, 2 of these in use now, which is nice. So the next step is once the liquid has been moved down here, we now want to see if everything has sort of finished. So all we're going to do is if rotations made is equal, so it's just checking if it's equal to rotations required, then we're done. So I'm going to just do an I print ln. So if you do I print ln, that's going to be text in the bottom left of the screen. If you do I print ln bold, that's going to be text in the middle of the screen. Okay, so that's sort of the difference there, just where you want it to be positioned. The one in the middle is also a little bit bigger. So we'll do I print ln bold, and we'll do, I guess, all rotations made. So once rotation is made equals the number that are required, we'll let the player know that all rotations have been made. And I guess in here, you could do some sort of reward or, whatever the next step is. So that is that. Now what we need to do is consider that this function is going to be continuously running. So even once all rotations have been made, it's still going to be waiting for the trigger. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just make this only run if it's still sort of in progress. Now you can do this in several ways. You could, but there's multiple ways that you could really do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a variable just so we can keep track of if this step has been completed or not. Now the reason why I'm doing it like this is because when we, in future sort of videos, when we're doing, more Easter egg sort of focused sort of tutorials, we want to kind of keep track of what step has been completed and stuff like that. So all I'm going to do is at the top of here, I'm going to do level dot valve step completed. We're just going to set this to false. The level.valve step completed is false. Once we have completed it, we'll now set this equal to true. And what we want to do is, once it's been completed, we of course want to stop this. So while level.valve step completed is equal to false, so exclamation mark meaning the inverse of it. So once it is false, so while it is false, we'll do this. That is all that means. And once it has been completed, it will set to true. This will then stop running, and that is that really. Now what we need to do next is stop this loop. Now we absolutely could do the same thing that we've done down here to this and just put exclamation mark and then put the level.valve step completed in. But I want to do something a little bit different here, just because it'd be useful to show. And we can use the break keyword. Now all this is going to do is it's going to be breaking us out of the current loop. So in this case, once all rotations have been made, we can just put break in here. And literally this is just going to say, this loop that we're currently in, break out of it. That's all that is. I guess you could even sort of take some of this logic out of here and put it afterwards. So if you wanted to, you could take this out of here and put it down here. It's going to be basically the exact same thing. In fact, I will keep it as this because I think it's quite useful to see. So it's pretty much equivalent. We can check if they're equal. The valve step is now been completed. We can let the player know all rotations have been made, and we can let the rest of the script know it's been completed because we're breaking out of it at this point. So that is that. Next, I'm going to go ahead and just save this. I'm just going to move this back over and do a full compile. So close down Radiant. We'll go ahead and do a full compile and then show you guys over in game this working. Oh, actually, before I forget, we probably want to be deleting the trigger at the end, otherwise it's still going to be showing. Almost forgot that. So at the end of here, I'm just going to do valve trigger delete. Almost forgot that. Awesome. So save that, and then we can go and do the compile, and I'll see you guys over in game. Okay, so over in game, let's go up to here. See if we can turn the valve. Go lower the liquid. Do it for the second time, third time, fourth time, and then we'll do it one more time. The liquid will disappear. We'll get text on screen to let us know that all rotations have been made. So I'll make these zombies move away a little bit. And then if we go back up to this, you'll see there's no more text. And if we do, I am currently pressing F. It doesn't actually do anything. So this step is complete. So that has been that. Of course, any comments or questions or whatnot, please leave them. Any comments or questions? Any questions, please leave them in the comments. And I'll do my best to help you guys there. But other than that, this has been using Notify and Waittill, which we'll be using quite a lot in future scripts. So hopefully this has helped. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.